Good morning. It's Saturday, 23rd. Good enough. We're gonna go out and start tearing walls and ceiling and all that down in the second room of the apartment there. It is it's cold. It's 35 outside right now. That's cold. So I'm bundled up, my thermals, t-shirt, shirt. It's a nice little line from Dickies thing. Not a sponsor. It was on clearance, man. I like clearance sales. And I like clearance day. Golly, hip hooray. So, had my breakfast, which was leftover pizza. I had my morning Tylenol, my morning multivitamin, and my morning decongestant, because I'm getting a little, in the face area. See? I don't know how much of this part will film. I'll film taking down the paneling, but not like that's going to be interesting. None of this has been interesting, but I'm going to film taking that down. And then the ceiling's going to be just like the last time. The floor's going to be just like last time. So we may not get into it a whole hell of a lot. We'll see. I'm probably, it's 8 o'clock. I'm just going to go out and work until the room's empty or I'm out of daylight. That's my plan today. That is the plan. I want to get it all done. Take tomorrow. Not do a damn thing. I'm taking a week off. A couple of weeks from now in October. And we'll get all of the lumber to redo the floor and everything else from there. That's the big plan. So today's just going to be go out and get her done, man. I just noticed. You think that storm window there is really doing much? Over that big huge gap right there? I don't think it's doing much. I think we're gonna get a new window. Put them all on the outside. So 45.2 out here. And we're out here first. That seal may be broken in that window. Hasn't changed colors yet. Could be. We're out here first thing today because what happened last time when I was out here working is we just brought every tool ever. We just brought every tool ever, and then we were working around everything. And what we're going to do this time is not that, so I don't have as much stuff I'm tripping over. This room's a little bit bigger than the kitchen was, I think. It felt like the stuff fit in here better than it fit in there. So I think this is a tad bit bigger. So let's take a look. We got to take that down. That is going to require a drill, screw gun, some sort, because it is screwed to the wall, so we'll need that. We'll need our hammer and our pry bar to take off the trim around the window and the baseboards and the crown molding. Hammer and pry bar to take off the ply or the wood paneling. It's a bummer. I kind of like wood paneling. We had it in my grandma's house, and it reminds me of her house. I know it's kind of ratty and ugly and all that, but I like it. I would consider putting wood paneling up, maybe on this wall. I don't know. I like it. Need to take that out. There's another line for a cable or internet. You can take that out. That's all just screwdrivers and wire snips. So hammer, pry bar. There's our multi-screwdriver, so that's fine. Hammer, pry bar, some sort of drill or driver, and snips. Yeah. Take all of that out, and we'll start on the ceiling. Before we start on the ceiling, I am going to sweep and vacuum this up, because you may notice there's some fasteners or some screws and wires from when I took the ceiling fan out. There's, I don't know what over there. Since we're going to save all of that to put out on the, in the driveway, I don't want any of this other, who knows what the hell it is, kind of a thing. I think there's a foot to a mic stand over there. That I'll save. Looks like a mic stand foot. Excuse me. Yeah. I think we'll be fine. Ain't too worried about it. Take that thing. This thing can go to the thrift store. I've got a couple things that can go to the thrift store, I think. Anyway, get some tools. We'll get started. All right, so we're out here in the shed because I've taken the time, empty out that, put everything mostly away where it goes. We're starting over, so we're starting over. We need gloves. Probably aren't going to need a tape measure for this, but it said we needed some sort of bit driving apparatus. So we'll take the impact driver. You know what? Let's take the Black & Decker stuff. Take a couple, 2, 3 Black & Decker batteries. Take a Black & Decker charger. And a second Black & Decker charger. Take our knife. Take our hammer. Take the crowbar. Take the 5-in-1. Take some channel locks. Pry bar. Pry bar's hanging up out there. Take the snips. Those are those. Shouldn't need those for this. Take our box of bits here. And I think I saw it there. Pencil, we have a marker. Yeah. Shouldn't need it, but you know, might want one eventually. We're gonna grab the vacuum. I cleaned up, man. This place was just junk, just packed, because I just been throwing everything in here. So it's a little better. I don't need any of that. Don't need the chainsaw. Don't need any of that. Don't need the weed eater or the painting stuff or any of that. Don't need the grill. Don't need the paint gun. Don't need any of that. Don't need any automotive painting or other such stuff. Want those eventually. Don't need the heat gun. Don't need the timer or the sprinkler. Don't need screwdrivers. Yeah, I think we're good. I think we're good. Excuse me. Oh, this goes with the vacuum. Might want that. And these. We'll need some more later. Like, we'll need the circular saw back out there, and we'll need the reciprocating saw back out there. But we don't need that for a little while yet. So I'm going to try and be a little smarter and not take a bunch of things I don't need until I need them. I know. It's a crazy idea. Crazy. No, Australia's never been tried before. And I'll come and pick up all this crap later. I would turn the camera off, but my hands are full. Okay, working on this. This one was attached a little. It had like real screws in it. I mean, half of them aren't holding, but it had them. Something interesting. There's a screw right there. Kind of long, kind of pointy, kind of sharp. You know, just in with all of that. And I'm sure it was fine, but there was only one holding that side on. There were two holding this side on, and they were both wood screws. I don't understand. One nail right down there. Well, that's what it used to look like. How about that? This is turning into a pain in the neck, man. It's not the plastic stuff, it's the wooden stuff. It felt plastic over there. I think it's because it's probably been painted several times. I don't know, but it's sticking like real bad. It's not usually that hard to take this crap down, and it's a struggle. So I've got enough room here that I think I can get the pry bar almost behind it. Not quite. Like if I can get this off the wall. Nope. There's a seam right there. Yep. Just drywall tape. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's just. Oh no. Well, yeah, it is. That's an interesting idea. Try real hard not to break the window while we're doing this. I just want to get. Okay, so they caulked it, and then they taped and mudded over it. And there. Did they do it on this wall? I don't know that I've seen it over here. Seam right there, they didn't tape it. And put there. Okay. You just gotta shake your head sometimes, you know. Let's get the phone stand and actually let's unveil together. You and me. In private. Let's just unveil with each other. That'll be great. Give me a second. All right, let's get you in here. Get you up against the wall, redneck mama. Can I do this one? No, because I don't have that thing anymore. So we'll have to do that. Yeah. Cinematography. Who needs it? Take that, Steven Spielberg. I see pink board back there. What's pink board? I hear you ask. Caution. Falling debris. And falling debris. This is pink board. This is actually insulated. Holy shit. Gloves, that's what we need. Pointy bits back there. It's glued, oh boy. Well, that's not quite what I wanted. They put it on upside down. God, no wonder. That explains everything. You've had one job. That is how this is adhered, and very thoroughly. You can tell by all the spots that there's like no glue. This may take a little longer than the 20 minutes I had originally planned. Not too much though. Makes me wonder if this other wall's insulated. How thick is this? See, that one's coming off like all in one. That's good. But it was anyway. This is the part I'm good at. Well, it was till I pointed the camera at it. We may try and save this. It's not quite what I want, but it'll work. Let's use it. It's like nailed to a board behind the other wall. And caulked and painted. Because why wouldn't it be? Not anymore. Where's my pocket? There's my pocket. Not cooperating. Oops, I broke the outlet. Don't tell Dad. And that's held into the box with 2-inch wood screws. It really does amaze me that this place just didn't burn down. I questioned it before. I question it even more now. Baseboard was as long as the room. Not anymore. This was put in and then the floor was put in, so this is behind the floor. So much for it all coming out in like 3 pieces. There, last to the corner. Pulling up some floor with it, that's good. Do it now, I don't have to do it later. Come here. Okay. Wood screw. Way too long. Both of them. Don't do that. That's bad on many levels. It's the wrong threads, 1, so it's never going to tighten up right. 2, there's electricity in there. You don't want to put pointy things in it. Rule number 1. Okay, this is what I wanted to find out. So that's all melted. Remember what was there? It was the heater. It was melting the insulation. That's probably cancer. You know, what are you gonna do? What's a little cancer between landlord and tenant? I mean, really. You just do what you gotta do, man. We give you 1 month free. Land's sakes. I gotta take this off. I'm not super concerned about saving this anymore. I'll save what I can. Maybe I'll put it in the shed. Melted 2 or 3 different places. One of them looks like it's from glue of some sort. I'm less enthused. Plus, I don't think it's as thick as I want. frame this wall, we're going to use every bit of that stud bay that we can. You pay a lot for insulation now, one time, or you end up paying a lot for heating and cooling forever. That's kind of how it goes. And I don't get super hell-bent on insulation compared to some people, but some's better than none, and I'm just surprised that this is even there. Makes me wonder if when I take this wall out, is there going to be a discrepancy? Is this wall is it narrower? That will determine some things moving forward. But we won't know until we get there. There we go. Now you can probably see where we've got another split here. Perfect. That's what I wanted to happen. Oh, there's still some of that stupid molding on the side. This side they put on right side up. Why not do both? How hard would it have been? I ask you. You say, we got a screw right there. Didn't seem to matter. Knife. We need a knife. Watch out for nails, man. Those little brad nails will go right through a shoe. There it go. Nailed it up at an angle into the ceiling. Those were way longer than they needed to be. There. Nope. There we go. Come here. It doesn't do any good to do this and then leave this. Put some foam in there. Foam it out. You know what I'm saying? But it doesn't look like there's anything. It just looks like we're stone walled there. So options for this wall. Option 1, we save all this stuff. We frame it out as we're supposed to. These are not These are not 16 feet, they're 4 or 16 inches, excuse me. So if we save it to reuse when we stud this out, we'll have to take this and cut it 14.5 inches wide so it can fit in between our 16-inch stud bays. So stud, it goes in between. But it's also not as deep, depending on how we frame it. It's 2.25 inches. So 3.5, 2.25, 3.5. So we have 3/4 of an inch, and then a half. So 1.5 inches, 1.25 inches, excuse me. We could get another sheet of this that's a thinner one, like 1 inch to 1.25 inches, whatever we want to call it, and double it. Or just take all this out. We put in the paper-backed insulation, and we do it that way. We'll have to buy product either way. I'm not sure if the foam is cheaper, this stuff. I think it used to be. It's a hell of a lot easier to work with because you don't have to staple it. You don't have to, the fiberglass everywhere. It's easier to cut. You don't have to worry, am I squishing it too much? Do I need to fluff it? However, that's things you want to be able to do in some situations. Like if we got a real skinny bay over here in the corner, for whatever reason, just say we end up with like that much, you can stuff the fiberglass stuff in and then kind of fluff it out. So it gives us something to think about. Anyway. So here's what I'm talking about. Cut a little chunk out there. If we frame it this way, I've got all that plus 1/2 inch I need to make up for. If I frame it this way, didn't quite cut that. We're fine. I don't need to add anything to it. So that's right up against the wall. I've only got this much more to go. I was hoping they would have glued one of these with the printing facing out. We could see the R value on it. R value is level of insulation. We have different, like our heater AC in the other room. It does so many BTUs, and its SEER level, SEER, is this. BTUs is the space it will do. SEERs is how efficient it is. It's kind of like volts, amps, and watts kind of a thing. There's some sort of formula for it, and all I know is it has something to do with this. One way or the other. I don't remember which. Look it up. So, like furnace filters, filtration is measured in MERVs, and the most MERVs you can have is a griffin of MERVs. Insulation is R value. This stuff is not usually very good, but I know how thick it is. I know it's pink, so we'll look it up. We'll come back and we'll talk about it. Some quick and dirty research. One of these boards is about $50, and it's a 4x8, so pretty much this piece. Has an R value of about 15. That's fairly standard. It's only 2 inch. My extra 1/4 inch came from measuring off of old window frame there, so that was a little off. The rolled insulation, the rolled fiberglass with the paper backing, same R value, and it's cheaper. You don't get it in the full sheet. You can get it in 14.5 by 8-foot lengths. So you just put it in your bay, staple it, done. Or you get it in the roll, you put it in, you cut it, you staple it. Either or. Excuse me. So if we wanted to redo this with the pink stuff, 50, 150. And if this is done, that's another 50, 150. $300. If I do it with the fiberglass paper-backed stuff, it's going to be about the same. But here's the thing. I don't have to cut it to go in between the stud bays when I frame it. Now, if I frame it this way, I can still space these out to where it's going to be 14.5. These will be a little wider. I'll have a little fewer. Structurally, it's fine because it's not supporting anything. It's just going to support the drywall that we put on it. And since it will be attached to the ceiling and the floor, that's not a big deal. So, yeah. I don't know. I kind of like working with this stuff because it's so quick and clean, but I really don't like cutting it. It's not hard to cut. It's just hard to cut in a straight line sometimes, if you're me, because I got problems. But you might see there's lines on it, and you might be thinking, oh, well, that's perfect. That's marking lines. I think those were drawn on after the fact. It feels like a pen. There's just a little divot. Plus, I don't actually think it's marking anything. So let's go from this one. So that's almost 16, and that's 24. So if they were doing studs 16 on center, they do there. If they were doing 24, they do there. The problem is, if that's your 16 and that's your other 16, you don't have like that what I'm measuring there is not what you fill, because these have thickness to them, you know. I'm gonna be able to get out of the wall. So I think we talked about this once. How big is a 2x4? Silly question. Well, it's not 2. You know, you call that 1.5 inches, pretty much. If I can get the tape measure straight. And then when you go this way, is it 4? No. It's 3 and call it a quarter. Just for the sake of even numbers. So if you have 2 of these, you take half of this is going to go on the left, half of it's going to go on the right, and your next one over, same thing. So you take half of that 1.5 inches and half of that 1.5 inches, you add them together, and you get 1.5 inches. So from your 16, you subtract that 1.5 inches, which makes it 14.5, which is why you need 14.5 to go between. Does that make sense? Sure it does. It's math. You got math. Everybody loves math. Anyway, I guess we'll tear this one out, and then I'll do something with that. We might need to have another fire. Oh no, not that. Anything but that. I would hate to sit out by the fire, glass of whiskey and or coffee, and a nice warm shirt. It sounds so different. It's just like in there, but backwards. Sit out there by the fire and smoke my pipe and drink some whiskey and or coffee and just sit in the quiet. God, that'd be terrible, wouldn't it? I really didn't want to make this part because Acadian Driftwood is on the radio. God, I love that song. This came down much like I wanted the other one to. Like the whole corner, that piece in the back, just the piece under, the piece over. So this was one piece, that was one piece, that little bit up there was one piece. This came in like a half chunk here, and then the whole other thing came out. And for whatever reason, this piece was glued to the paneling. So I don't know. And I think that might be cement board. If it is, that's good. We'll leave that. This is where the garage door used to be. This brick out here is just cinder block. It's not textured like the brick everywhere else. So as much as I want to put that heater over on that wall, for a couple of different reasons, it might end up going over here because I can mount the condenser unit to this a lot easier than I can that. So, don't know. We'll figure it out. But yeah, this one came down great. Like no sweat. And didn't even really argue with the baseboard or the molding on top. It hung on by the plastic outlet cover. Yeah, right down there. It did not want to let go, man. But cool. I mean, that's it. That's it. We're done with that. Next thing to do, I'm going to haul all this outside. And then we'll start on the ceiling. I'm excited. Yay. It's my favorite part last time. I'm sure it was. Where are we at? 10:15, 52 and a half. There you go. Oh, just having a little sit down. I'm old. I can do stuff like that. It is 10 to 12. Still got to get that little run and that little run. That one's kind of under the wall here, so we're going to leave that. But we're ready to start knocking out all the plaster. Like I said, we're going to do the same thing we did with the last batch. I've got some nails I need to pull out. There's a couple there. There's a whole bunch over there. So I'll pull those out. Man, it's dusty. Pull those out. Go get the wheelbarrow. I'm not going to bring the wheelbarrow in like I did last time. I'm just going to get a bucket and I'll fill it as I go. It'll take a little longer and be a little messy. Excuse me, messier, but not 100% sure the wheelbarrow will fit through that door. It'll fit through the exterior door because it's a little bigger, but I don't think it'll fit through that. So, that's the plan. I got all of that from the ceiling in the dumpster. All of it. It's tight, but it's all in there. It makes me wonder how many bags of insulation we'll have going after this round of work, I guess. 7.5 42-gallon bags last time. I'll bet it's going to be pretty close. Maybe a little more. Because we're going to have what's over there. And that will not go in the dumpster. That's going to have to do what we did last time. I'll just have to keep it bagged up. Take one or two to work with me. Throw them away in our bigger dumpsters there. And then throw them away here. As I have room. I think it's time for a bathroom break. Maybe some lunch. But Jason, you ejaculate at me using 19th century literary terms. How do you get your fan to stay in the window? Well, that. The heads on these screws are just a little too small to fit in those holes. So yeah, just do that. It's light, it's flexy, it works great. Turn your fan on, make sure it's blowing the right way. It is. And then start doing the dirty job. Oh boy.